Hey guys, welcome channel. We're back with my SLK32, my SLK320 death cart with an SLK32 motor and 8 pulley setup. Today the plan is to try to get this car almost all ready to go driving. Mainly we want to try to get all the fluids done to it. So we need to do, as you can see, radiator. We're going to have to get a heat exchanger. We're going to do a water tank. We're going to do a pretty cool heat exchanger and pump setup on this car. And then a few miscellaneous stuff. A few things that I did off camera. I had to fix my power steering line, so I had to switch the SLK32 one and with the SLK320 one, or vice versa. Basically, it has an SLK32 power steering pump and line now, which was really easy. I had to knock that out. And then I think I got a solution for my water pump. Let me show you. Now, if you look right there, I found this cap in just one of my little junk extra parts stores, and I put the cap on there. So that's pretty good. And as you see now, we got the new line, which this one literally bows around for the power steering, so that works out really good. But now we're going to throw the radiator on and see if these hoses will work or if I have to try different hoses. And we had a few AN lines for these lines. But let's start knocking everything out. Okay, this part was pretty straightforward. It literally just all bolted right back in how I had it, so no big deal there. Now when we're coming off the line from the intercooler, so I want these to be easily serviceable. So I just got some 12 AN fittings. So when I have to remove this supercharger, it'll break right off. So this one I'm thinking like a nice 45 to drop down there. I didn't figure this one out of how I want to do it. Either do a, like over here or something, a 45 or 90. But the only reason I'm waiting is because I'd rather do everything in the trunk first, where we're going to put all the cooling for the supercharger, and then work our way forward. Because if for some reason I need to put a line over there, or over there for the trunk, then at least I'll know for up here. Okay, so now we're going to be putting all the supercharger cooling setup in the trunk. Now some might ask why I'm going to put everything back there. For weight distribution. So I've already added quite a bit of weight for the supercharger up front. So I want to put everything I can in the rear. And I think it's going to look pretty cool and be something different. So we're going to have rear trunk tank, rear pump, rear heat exchanger. That's the one that I think is going to be different. A lot of other people do the trunk tank and the trunk pump. But the rear heat exchanger, I think would be pretty cool. And since this car has no trunk or nothing, it will get plenty of airflow, I hope. We're going to test it out. If it doesn't work, I can always put it up front anyways. But let me try to show you what parts I got and the setup. Mind you, this is a budget build cooling system. This whole cooling system, okay, granted I did get the heat exchanger a lot of years ago, but this whole thing is under 500 bucks. Kind of counting the heat exchanger too. But let me start showing you, because some of the big stuff is very easy to get and cheap. And let me put it this way, saying easy to get. I bought it off effing Amazon. It came in one day for 2 of these items. Well, no, actually a lot of the items were one day. But I'm going to show you them, and what do you guys think about it? Because this is something I've never tried, 2 of these parts, and I think it's going to be a game changer, at least for me. Alright, so what we got is the heat exchanger. This is my old Needswings heat exchanger, as you see. It says Needswings. So, I'm going to be mounting it in the rear, facing this way, up front. So sadly, you will not see the Needswings thing, but we'll all know it's there. Because it's a heat exchanger I had for a while from my SLK32, I just took it off. So why buy a new one? And this one's a pretty effing big one, and they work. The end tanks are 3/4, and if you want a heat exchanger like this for your C32 or SLK or whatever, go on Needswings.com. They're actually really cool. They have a little breather hole over here to vent air. It's got its own little radiator cap, so you technically don't need a tank with this setup. And look how big it is. It's pretty effing big and inexpensive. Now, we got all this room for activities. Let's see what we're going to put in there. Bam, an ice tank. Now this one I'm actually pretty cool. I like it. It's Mishimoto. It's off Amazon. It's $230. It comes with quite a bit of little fittings. And then look at this cool. It's got a locking lid with, hold on, let me put the camera down. This one is super, without it being bolted down, it's hard to open. Oh, there you go. Look at that. This is a great, big, easy open lid once it's bolted down. It comes ready for a rural pump if you need to. You can bolt it right in there. It has the little snout for the pump, and here's where all the wiring comes for the pump. They come with 2 bungs, one that actually you can put wires through and one that's just a block-off bung. Also, it's got a vent. Pretty effing nice. And then I just went on Amazon and I bought some 12 AN fittings that adapt right to it, so you can screw right on there for your pumps. It comes with the drain valve. All of this for 230 bucks. Mine's out these 2. These are like $5 each, but I just need them for my kit. So now we're going to have the tank back here, which this tank, like I said, 2 days. I used to rock out the PNR stuff, which this is still pretty good quality. Just the PNR stuff is like 3-4 weeks away. Now, you do need to assemble this a little bit. You need to put your own lid on, but it's just a series of little bolts. And it is pretty effing, like, stout. Like, I don't know why you would need to lock it, but if you do, it's locking it. Now we're going to go to the other part, the pride and joy. Well, not the pride and joy, but something I really want to try. Okay, so the next part of this rear trunk supercharger cooling system apparatus is something that is different to me. Some of you guys run it, and I hear good, positive results off of, how do I say this, the actual part. So, what do you think that can mean, the actual part? So now the one thing we're missing is a pump. So I run Royal pumps on all of my cars. On I think 6 of my cars, I have Royal 2000 in-tank pumps, and usually I use a pusher up top, which is like a Johnson 30. I do that because at one point I had about 7 or 8 Johnson 30 pumps that I was basically putting them on every car because I got them for free, and I was selling them a little bit. So, but I'm all out of those pumps, so I had to find out a different alternative. Now, this is something that is supposed to be, how do I say this, a $650 effing pump. I got it off Amazon because a fellow Facebook Mercedes guy posted it up. You get these pumps for $89. At least in my area, it's $89. Shipped to the house in one effing day. Let me show you the pump. Bam! Now, you don't get it exactly looking like this. Mine is modified. You see how the little tip? I modified it to have some, I got a guy who welded some 12 AM bungs, so it just goes right on. But this is supposed to be a pretty effing good pump. It is a BMW water pump, which is the same thing as a CWA400. This is one of those big dog pumps that a lot of people like. They cost about $600 new. This one, because apparently they also use it in the BMWs. So I literally just found a BMW water pump on Amazon. So it looks like it should do the job. This should have 2 speeds on it from my understanding. We're going to wire it up to be 100% all the time. I read that it's still pretty safe. If I do blow this pump up or this pump takes a crap, it was $89. You can't buy a Royal pump or a Johnson pump for that cheap, brand new, shipped to your house within a day. So I'm going to try it out. The only thing that was, I wouldn't say costly, but I did have to get these all fittings welded up. But it was pretty easy because this part just unbolts this snout to get 12 ends. And hey, if any of you guys want some of those, a pump like this, I mean, I'll get my guy to sit there and make like 3 or 4 of these little snouts on there. And then I'll try to sell the pumps for relatively cheap. Let me put it this way. To get it welded up and to buy the fittings does make the pump the same price as a Royal, more or less. Because with the fittings and getting it welded up is another $100. So you're at roughly $200 for this pump. And it came with a harness offline. So it comes with mounting hardware and the bracket and all that stuff. But this was roughly $200 out the door. What costs so much is getting these welded up and buying the fittings off Amazon. That's what costs so much. But still, for $200 compared to these go over $600, plus I would still have to get the fittings welded up. It should be a killer deal. So we're going to like lay this thing out in the trunk. You're going to see me build brackets, build this, build that. I'm going to try some stuff out. Because also, if this pump works really good, I might start changing out my pumps in my other car to this. Like, take away that Johnson pump in the front and throw this one up front. But I want to at least test it on this because it was inexpensive and I needed a pump for this car. And this was the almost cheapest alternative and I could get it in one day. So I'm going to try to show you the layout I want to do and then we'll go from there. So like I said, generally this one's going to sit up high. The tank is going to be sitting somewhere over here. And then for my pump, this big girl, I want it to be mounted somewhere over here. Something like that. And then I got a series of 90s and 45s. So this is going to be where the feed is. So the feed's going to go into the pump. The pump is then going to like shoot it down to the supercharger. Then it's going to come back, go through here, cool itself down, and then back in the tank. The reason I want to go from tank to pump to car is because when I throw ice in here, I want it to be the coldest. How I think I've had it done in the past is you have ice in the tank and then it goes through your heat exchanger first. I'm pretty sure that drops temperature. I'm like 98% sure because basically if you have 30-degree water in here, by the time it hits here and it's 90 degrees out, this is basically heating up the water at that point at those extreme temps. Now, this is not a daily driver car. Normally for daily driver cars, you're going to have tank, pump, heat exchanger, supercharger, and then back to the tank. That way it could cool the water down because if you're just driving this around super daily-ish, this water will get hot. But I'm not going to daily this too much. And if I don't like it, I can literally just flip the lines. Because everything's going to stay back here. All I really would have to do is just go from like here to there, vice versa. So not that big of a deal. So we're going to start mocking up some brackets, start welding stuff up. And I'll try to show you step by step what we're going to do. And if I start changing my mind on stuff. But as of right now, this is how it's going to be. I do need to clear this all out. And the biggest benefit, like I said, all this weight's going to be in the rear to help, you know, move some weight back. One thing I do got to get rid of, you see right here, this little nub. This is where the spare tire little hook thing went. I got it somewhere. But this is now making the tank off balance, so I'm just going to cut this right out just to make it a lot more level, because I want to bolt this to the floor and I don't want it to be wobbling back and forth, so we'll make it real level like that. Alright, so we cut that little bad girl off, and now this tank is sitting nice and flush. So we're also going to put it in there, mock everything up. The next thing I have to build is the bracket for over here. I'm going to build a nice little L bracket for it to sit on. I'm going to use some of the frame. And then we're literally going to go from tank, pump, radiator. Build each part individually. Well, one at a time. Hey guys, thanks for watching these videos. At this moment, clearly if you're watching this video, you must own an SLK32, a C32, an SRT6, or a Crossfire. And you're already enjoying the M11-2 platform and M11-2K platform. But you know what everyone else likes? Saving a little bit of money. One way to do that, I got a coupon code for you. I got 10% off of an intake from Needswings and bigger crank pulley from Needswings. I'm putting a link below. I'll probably put something right around here of a little thing to remind you. But the coupon code is ND_72. And make sure when you go in there and it says, how'd you hear about us? Also put ND_72, and that should get you 10% off of a bigger crank pulley for more boost. Soon I'll be installing this on my car right here, and you actually will see a how-to in doing it and everything you need. This is I'm pretty sure it's a 178 crank pulley from Needswings. That coupon code will get 10% off of that and 10% off the sweet intake. Not this exact one, because this is mine, but you'll be able to get the Needswings dual intake for 10% off. Pick whatever color you want. I like my color. I can't remember what it's called, but I think it was like candy red. And this kit is very easy to install. I made a video of it, or basically you're watching that video right now. So hope you guys like it. Remember, Needswings website, coupon code is ND_72. Let's get back to that video. Alright, so here's an update on our progress. We got the tank mounted. We got the pump mounted how I wanted it to. So then now I can basically undo and do the harness if I need to. This is pretty effing secure. It's got two up here, one down there. And it's got these little insulators so we don't crack anything from vibrations. We have our 90 that goes up into our feed. So the tank's, like I said, is going to feed. Suck through that hole, go in here. Bam! And then I got this 45 that we're going to have to cut a hole here to dump it down. But I want to do all my cuts at once. My whole one. So we have to dump it down there. We're going to have a cut for there. Now we're working on the radiator setup. So I got to see how I want it to go. I originally was going to weld it to the floor, but I'm a little bit concerned because my gas tank's right there. So I'm just going to like basically bolt it in. There should be a subframe under there. Should be okay as long as I don't go too far. So we got this rod over here where I'm going to build the frame and then some mounting perches. I'll show you an up-to-date here and there on it, but let's start knocking it out. Alright, so we got the frame all bented up, welded, and bolted in. So it's all basically bolted into those holes I had made with factory ones, and this is pretty effing sturdy. I originally first just had the loop, and I wasn't happy with it, so I added these braces over here, welded it all up. We're going to put the heat exchanger in, mount it all up, and then we can start doing lines from here to there, but should be pretty good. Oh, she's looking pretty good. I still got these old foam pieces from when it was somewhere else in the car. Take those off. Now, I do have some foam down here to kind of help insulate it. And then my washers, they got some like insulation on it, but this is pretty stout. Everything's basically bolted in. So that's bolted in, that's bolted in, that's bolted in. I will eventually clean this whole trunk area and paint it. But for right now, I just want to keep doing the line. So my next line to do is going to be here to here. Hopefully that should just be a few 90s and not too crazy of a bend. Now that I look at it, bollocks. That might be a little interesting, but we'll get it done. Alright, here's our not so overly complicated rear trunk hose setup so far. No clamps yet. So it's going to, let's think about this. Alright, so you got water in the tank. Water then gets sucked through the pump into here. That then goes this fitting chute down that hole, goes up to the supercharger, does supercharger stuff, then comes back up through this hose that then goes to the top of the heat exchanger, gets cooled down, then come through this series of 90s, which I agree is not the most efficient way. It's just, it looks tight and it doesn't look too bad back here. And then back in the tank in full cycle. So I need to get all the clamps. I'm going to make this line a disconnect where I could break it off over here. But this line, I'm probably going to make it fully solid, so the only way to get it off is from here and to the supercharger. I don't think that should matter too much. This is the only one I kind of wanted to because I was just trying to see this bend. But not bad. So now we're going to go supercharger forward. So this is the whole trunk tank setup. All done, all good. Oh, I mean, granted, I still got to figure out how to wire this bad girl up. But that hopefully won't be too hard. Maybe I could branch into like one of these. I don't know what these wires do, but if they got power with key on, I'll tap into something over here. But not bad, not bad. We're looking good. Okay, we got everything under the car wire or plumbed up. What we're doing now is trying to figure out this wiring because I found like 3 or 4 different wiring diagrams. Everyone's saying different. I think I got it now because listen, I'm using jump box, not battery, nothing like that. You hear it? So apparently it has like a soft start. But I'm completely dry, so we're going to fill it up with water, and then I'm going to try that again. Okay, we got it up past like where the suckage is area. I got another bottle over here. I got the cap off the heat exchanger. Now, none of my lines actually have clamps on them yet, but I just want to see if it'll flow and if we got enough pressure. Hopefully this jump box got enough juice to do it. All right, it's making noise. Kind of a rattling noise. It's probably going to take a little bit to get all the way around. Put my hand down there. I do feel sucking. I don't see anything coming out, so we'll let this sit for a while, and then I'll come back with you. So I read run for like maybe 3 minutes. Nothing's coming out. And I don't really see the water level dropping down, so I'm thinking just since I have the pump so high up from the tank, it's not priming. There's not enough HUD pressure. So I'm going to start cracking some lines, maybe to let some air out, and try to like shove water in there. And if not, then I'm going to get a garden hose and actually force water up to that pump. But we're going to try to do the simple stuff. Okay, the hose trick worked. Don't water all that water coming out because I overfilled it. The hose trick actually got it to start pumping. It's shooting out, but I think we still have a lot of air in it, so. Yeah, you guys hear all the air? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Now we shouldn't have any air left, but we'll double check with this cap. That's the benefit of the Needswings stuff. It's, whoa, whoa, whoa. All right, good. So, it's okay for flow. It's not bad. I thought this pump was going to be a lot more cool, like make it shoot it to the back. It's basically just shooting it right here, but at least we got a working pump. What I do want to see if I have to do that every time, then this bad girl is going to be lowered down. And now it's about to storm at my house, so let's kind of clean up a little bit. Okay, so I've been playing with it, and it's getting a lot better with the flow. I think we just have so much air in it. So literally what I'm doing is I just keep, every once in a while, opening this up, and we keep dumping more out, and water keeps dropping. So we clearly have air in the system. That's why these Needswings heat exchangers are so good, because I got this quick little valve that just like helps me get it. As you can see, it's definitely a lot better, especially with like all the crazy bends we have and how big our heat exchanger is. So not bad, not bad. We'll let it run for a little bit more, but I will have to charge that up soon. That could be the other thing. This might be a little bit low on power, but not bad. Okay, on the same aspect of adding fluids to this car, we ran into 1 or 2 little problems. So remember how I put that water pump on? Water pump was leaking from the gasket, so I threw in a gasket on there. That's neither here nor there. Now my power steering pump is leaking because once again I reused the gasket, so I did order a new one from Amazon. Next thing we have to do with fluid related stuff is I gotta fill the supercharger up with oil because how I set it down to sit for about a week and change, oil kind of came out of a seal up top, which that really shouldn't happen. But I've seen it happen before when you put a supercharger nose down, which is super stupid of me. It does leak out. So now we're going to fill it up. I'm going to kind of show you how to do it. Eventually I will make a video of how to do it on every one of my cars. But I'm going to be quick of how to do it. So as you see there, normally get a drain plug. Mine was 3/16. Some of them are a 5mm Allen. So you take your drain plug out. You go get yourself a nice syringe from either a local Huron Addict or Needswings.com. They sell a full kit. And then you're going to fill it up with oil and dump it right in there. How I usually do mine, as long as the car is level, I'll fill it up till it starts dripping out. But as you can see, like, I'm pretty effing low. Like, nothing is coming out of there. So we're going to get some of my Mobil 1 jet fluid, crack it open, and start filling that bad girl up. That's basically the oil I'm using. I do have a pretty big container because I have so many effing cars. So since I did crack this open, I will be doing a service on all of my supercharged vehicles with this system. So like I said, you get all this stuff from Needswings.com or some of it you get from Amazon and place it. The only disadvantage of like doing all that is you might not get the right syringe, you might not get the right this or that. If you just go to Rob, and he's got it all there at needswings.com for you. But yeah, I got the plug back in. I'm going to hit it with some brake clean, but I also like to kind of like spin it around as I oil it, just so it gets oil everywhere, but we should be pretty good. Okay, so we got the car all plumbed up and everything good. We tested it. We have one or two little leaks. I did have to order one of the new AN fittings from Amazon. I'm hoping that's a leak because it doesn't matter how much I tighten it up, it wouldn't seal. But that's neither here nor there. The pump, I will say, for being a knockoff $600 pump that I got for under $100 effing dollars, it works. Actually, it works pretty good. For that being the only pump, and for me putting up way too high where I really shouldn't have, it works pretty good. I'm really considering buying another one of those and going to like my E55 and testing it against my Johnson pump to see which one actually will flow better. Because I have a, granted it'll be an old Johnson pump from brand new knockoff BMW pump, so I want to try that. The heat exchanger from Needswings, those things are awesome. Let me bleed the air, super good about that. I really have no complaints about any of the products. Now in the next video I do got to wire everything up. I am going to be ordering a fan for the heat exchanger to keep it cool, because I don't know if I'll get enough airflow over the car or anything like that. If anything, I just want the fan, just to be safe, to keep temps down. Because if anyone knows, with these supercharged vehicles, high intake temps is your biggest killer, so we're going to be knocking that out. Hopefully you guys like this video. Hopefully other people are going to want to throw a supercharger on their SLK 320, on their C320 coupe, on their C320 sedan, on their E320. This setup will work on all of those cars. So if you own yourself a Mercedes right now, and you're just like, man, I just got the V6, I should have got the V8, but you just can't afford an E55 or a CL55, heck, you could buy an SLK 320, or if you already have an SLK 320 or a C Coupe, you could buy those for under $2,000. Buy all this stuff for $4,000. You have, it's a V6 supercharger, you have a car with well over 400 horsepower and a lot lighter, about, even like, granted mine's gutted, but 1,000 pounds lighter and just 100 less horsepower for half of the price. So this is a super easy, bolt-on, cool way to do it. And now we got all the plumbing down. Hopefully we can manage my heat management with the air intake temps with the heat exchanger in the back. Now, if I do have a problem and I just can't drop temps, I will eventually move it forward. I could easily just build a bracket for up here, and then it'll be forward, then we'll have no problems. But I just want to try it, because having all that weight in the rear will be so cool, in my opinion, for all the weight. And it kind of displays as I drive. So hopefully you guys liked the video. Throw a like down, throw a comment down, hit me up, ask me any questions. I'll try to answer them all. Let's try to make this channel grow a little bit. And this whole month, I am, like I said, trying to do 2 videos a week of this project. The plan is, by like July 30th, this is going to be on the road driving at a racetrack. That is our plan and our hope. So everything is going pretty good, and I'll catch you guys later. Lady. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up.